Hello, I'm Lauren Francesca.
I'm Brad Grunberg.
And we're here for the first episode of How to Start.
Start it up.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about podcasting.
Podcasts.
Yeah. And I decided, because I've known Jason Horton for years, and he's a podcast expert.
That's the Jason Horton?
Yes.
Oh my God, I've heard about him.
Just like my Instagram handle, the Jason Horton.
Oh my God, is that really him?
It's really him.
Yeah.
Better looking in person.
Absolutely.
That's the problem,
Much
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
You got juice, girl. You got juice.
What's your podcast name?
I have two podcasts. So I have Friends Without Benefits, which you've been on, if you remember, which is interview style, entertainers, people that do interesting things, and their lives are like just off the beaten path, and how they find success. And then I have one, it's a new one called Ghost Town, which is abandoned, haunted, true crime, which people go crazy. It's only been 2 months, and it's blowing up to be bigger than my other podcast because the niche is so vibrant.
Well, I saw you in Janis Joplin's hotel at the Landmark.
At the Landmark,
and I was just like, I've been in the hotel, but I've never been in the actual room. I definitely want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Before, after we talk about how to start a podcast.
Sure.
'Cause that's what the show is about.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's a big Halloween, and coinciding with the anniversary of her death. We had a medium come in and read the room, and it is freaky. That's going to be the third of the 3-parter.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, very expensive episodes.
Oh God, wow.
There's all this stuff that you're doing with the Janis Joplin and all this stuff. Is it like urban legend, or pretty factual?
I think the fact that anything I've been in LA for a long time, but I consider myself always a tourist. So when I'm we always had the ideas let's record in a place of what we're talking about, which makes it kind of creepier. So this was the first one that we did, and we went big. We had a party at the end. We had musicians come in to cover her songs.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they were used to it at that hotel, I believe.
Have you ever been to the where Marilyn Monroe is in Westwood?
Roosevelt?
It's in Westwood. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's where she is. Hugh Hefner,
right?
Rodney Dangerfield, all the legends are there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I take all my friends there.
Yeah.
Show them some love.
All right. Well, let's get into the basics. What everyone is probably going to tune into this video for. It's how to start a podcast, because I've been trying to start one for years, and we're going to go through the steps with Jason on how he started his 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you guys a little bit how I started my podcast. Probably, I don't know if it was the same way. If we
It's all the same way.
Yeah, it's all the same way.
You have an idea and you want to get it in people's ears and eyes. So it's just just getting there. For me, what I learned is having it be somewhat specific, like how to start. Like that, people are when I tune into this podcast, I know what I'm getting. If it was just called Lauren, great, but people are I don't know what this is. But when they kind of have an idea of what they're getting themselves into, so when I started doing especially Ghost Town, I was they're going to know what they're getting themselves into. So have that kind of, if you can make it as narrow as possible, unless you're already a huge celebrity like Dax Shepard's Armchair Expert, it's really based on him being a celebrity and having a lot of celebrity friends. It's a great show, but I think if you're not already a huge celebrity, I think it's good to have it focused. Like My Favorite Murder is a very popular podcast, and it's based on true crime, so people know ooh, murder. Your favorite one's great. I'm going to tune in. That's probably the biggest mistake, is being too vague.
Can you take us back to the first one, Friends Without Benefits, the first one you ever did? Who was the guest?
It was Shane Dawson, who's
wow.
It gets a lot of listens. Yeah.
How did you get Shane to be in your first?
He owes me a lot of favors. I've gotten hurt in a lot of his videos, so I was I'm going to be cashing in on these favors. Plus, we worked together for so long, so that was a really good way to kick it off.
So just get your most famous friend possible, guys out there. I don't know if you know anyone who has a similar fan base to Shane Dawson, who has over 10, how many millions?
Zillions.
Yeah, he has millions upon millions of subscribers.
I guess I'm not too famous, but I'm a good guy.
You're a good guy, yeah. You were in the Revenge of the Nerds.
We need good guys? Okay.
Yeah. We don't need any more good guys. We need famous people.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
I think so. I think the very first thing is know what you're going to want to do, and I think it'll help kind of frame what you're going to do going forward, and then just recording it. And it takes a couple. I listen to some. I go back to my old ones, and I see where I'm kind of stumbling a little bit with because my Friends Without Benefits is just a name that I liked. it doesn't really tell you. It's just kind of like, oh, these people, it's people that I'm friends with that there is no benefits other than the friendship. So that's kind of like the baseline of it, and I thought it was a clever name. But kind of recording it, having somewhat of a format, you know.
And did you record the first one in a studio, or was it
studio?
in your house? Yeah.
Always studio. Get people that are better at it than you, because sound quality shouldn't be hard to get, but people will tune in. There's so many podcasts, like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
If the light is bad or the sound is bad, people can easily switch off and find another podcast. So make sure you have them hooked right away. And just, if it's just for audio, just make sure it sounds good. It shouldn't be too hard.
Is that an earpiece?
Mine?
Yeah.
No. I would get a way better one if it
looks
was.
good. Yeah, it is. It's looking good.
I would get a way better one than this if this was a hairpiece. And I'd probably work on some other things before that.
Gotcha.
So I'd say that's first. And then it's like that thing of like, how do you get it out there?
Yeah.
So and for me, for audio, it's getting it on as many platforms, the iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, because you don't want people to have to.
I should be writing this stuff down because
it's being recorded, so I think you can just
we're
go back.
okay.
It's just archive it.
Yeah, guys, just keep rewinding.
But I make sure that I'm on every single platform, so this way, some people just favor certain ones. I've learned that iTunes is the biggest one, but if you don't have an iPhone, they can't listen. So you're really you want those rates and reviews because it helps kind of bump you up, just like maybe a YouTube video. But make sure you're on every single platform, so this way people can find you. If you're like, check out Ghost Town, whatever one they use, they can type in Ghost Town and or Friends Without Benefits, and they can find it.
That's really, really smart. Do you have to pay for any of these platforms, or how does it normally work?
I have a platform that I do not pay for, but they usually do charge. We made like a deal, and they're the ones who get me my for Friends Without Benefits. They host both of them, but I'm only getting it because Ghost Town's so new. But they do they bring me all my sponsorships and stuff like that. But any of these platforms, like Libsyn's like a really good one, I think. If I went and did one and I was going to start another new one, I didn't use anyone else, I would use Libsyn. And they just very easily push everything out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, do you share your different episodes on different websites and blogs as well? Are you doing that too?
I'm doing all that. I blog a travel, urban exploration blog off of Ghost Town podcast called Ghost Town Travels. So it's part of that, and then part of the places I go. Like I drove Mario Karts in Japan, so I did like a blog post on that. So this way, people can just find it in many different places. I put some on YouTube. That's what everyone was telling me. They're like, get your stuff on YouTube. You're way
doing
ahead
it, yeah.
Because it's just a great search engine.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been podcasting for about since 2012 with various podcasts, but these last two are maybe the last 2 years.
So anybody out there today who they don't have to be an actor, they can just be a regular person.
Most of them are not.
Yeah, have an idea, and like you said,
I've gotten a lot of feedback from people. It's if you are passionate about what you're talking about, it really shows. If you're talking about what you think people would like, that won't last very long. And people can tell, and you won't be passionate about it, and people can hear that, and they just love when you're enthusiastic about whatever. There's a popular one about roller coasters, which I don't care about roller coasters, but if you're passionate about different roller coasters, and people might be just interested in that passion, they might not care about roller coasters. So just be enthusiastic and passionate about what you're talking about.
I like hamburgers.
Yeah.
Me too.
Can you tell?
There's a podcast out there. I'm sure.
Do you know them? Could you maybe hook us up?
We'll do a Hollywood thing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it.
Love hamburgers.
Yeah.
Starving.
That's really cool. And for those of you guys out there who don't I was very fortunate because I talked to the people at Focus TV and they let us use their studio. Yeah, Focus TV.
We love those
They're
people.
an amazing platform and magazine, and they have a bunch of amazing podcasts that they host. But if you're just out there and you're saying, okay, I don't have followers like you, Lauren, or Jason, or Brad. How do I start this? I'm a mom, or I'm a doggy mom, or I'm a babysitter and I really want to be an actor, but I don't have the money or the time to do this every day. What I would say to do is just do it on your phone. Even though you really want to eventually get the right microphones to get the sound, there's a ton of great microphones that we can put in the description after this podcast that you guys can get on your own once you start doing it. You could just start on your phone, because how to start, which is the name of the podcast, is just do it. You just have to do it.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta start somewhere. See, we talked about doing a podcast for a while. I've talked about doing it for a while, and I didn't know. I was like, I didn't even have a title until last night of what I was going to call it. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. There's so many things that I'm interested in and that I love. Like I really, like, in a perfect world, I would do a podcast about dogs and just have like 1 million dogs on the couch with me and just talk about dogs.
That could be an episode. I think it should be.
We got to see if Focus TV is pet friendly.
I think so. I think they are.
But guys, it's just doing it, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, because I feel like in order to accomplish things, like, you may not do it great, it may not be perfect. As an actor, I don't always book the jobs I audition for.
I never do.
Exactly right.
It's really hard, but you just have to do it, and that's.
You gotta just keep moving, keep moving. Exactly.
And how did you start? How did you get that first opportunity, Jason, to do it
for podcasting?
Yeah.
It was a thing where I was doing a lot of interviews, and I've come from the improv background, and I just love talking to people. And when I started doing a podcast, I never listened to a podcast. But I knew how to talk to people, and I just found people that knew how to do podcasts, and I just did them. And then after that, I would start listening. And there's people can get information like the greatest hamburgers or the greatest true crime stuff, but sometimes people want to get it through that kind of vessel of the person they like. It's like your news. You're like, I like to get my news from blank, or I like to get my my weather from blank. So I think there's no shortage of information. It's just finding the people that you like and then being one of those people. And so I have a few podcasts that I listen to, and I just want. I'd like to be one of those people. Plus, I commute a lot, and I listen to podcasts, so I kind of reverse engineer. I become the audience. You got to be the audience, I think, to know how to be the person in front of the audience. So, if I commuted from Beverly Hills back to the East Side so many times listening to podcasts, and think about all those hours getting into somebody's head. More than a YouTube video, it's like a minute or two on there, but when you're in somebody's head in your car or taking a walk or at the gym for hours at a time, it really sticks with you, and you can.
Jason, you're a very likable guy. How many stalkers?
I've had my share of. Yeah.
You got one here. What are you doing later?
You know what?
I might be.
I would like to say that I'm really booked, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just going to just stare into the void.
The only thing I'll say is I'll see you later.
Okay.
Yeah. Somewhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. So speaking about stalkers and call-ins. How do you set up call-ins for podcasts? Because that's something that I want to do, but I don't know how to do it yet.
I've been on shows where they do. You have to screen them.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing, because there's a good chance that somebody's gonna
Yeah.
Just whatever. So I have everything very controlled. The guests come in, I sit
you screen everything?
Yeah, everything is, but everything comes out. I really don't edit that much unless after the fact. Sometimes they're like, hey, can you, if they have a movie coming out, or they're like, oh, they pushed the date, can you cut that out of the, thing. So other than that, though, I get pretty personal if they allow it. I let it go there. I learned a lot from Mark Maron's WTF podcast, which is somebody that
Did he interview the president? He interviewed.
Springsteen. I mean, he's somebody to listen to. But I want to be someone where when they go, oh, don't let that question go. I want them to answer that. Yeah. He will do that. He'll make sure those questions are answered. And I want to be that person who doesn't let things kind of go. Or I'll bring it back. So you have to have a pretty. You have to be listening constantly. Right. Unfortunately.
And I think that's the idea of this whole thing is people want to see that you go the extra mile behind the wall and see what the person.
And I won't do. There's a lot of times I won't do any research on the person purposefully. They'll PR people. I'm like, I don't want to. Wow. I just want to know how to say their name. I don't want just a little bit, and then I'll let them go. We'll go all the way back, and then we'll move all the way forward, because I like to hear I love a rags to riches story. I love because everyone didn't know where to start. And then they found that way, and I want to go on that journey with them.
I like Johnny Carson did that. Johnny Carson never saw his guest before he was in the chair, and that's why he's the best ever.
And he did okay.
Just he was okay. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. He had a pretty good career. I think Lauren Francesca is going to have right up there. You know what you think? She's doing it wonderful for the first one.
Yay, episode 1. Episode 1.
Yeah, baby.
Now, you got really big and you started doing brand deals. How did you start getting guys out there who want to start making money on podcasts? How did you do it, Jason? How did you do it?
First, I would say if you're I want to do a podcast because I want to make money, don't do it. Just like YouTube. You're going to be very disappointed, because I believe the statistics are the something% of the podcasts out there, but some statistics get less than 150 downloads per episode or something like that. So there's like the top 20% is a small amount, but that's really big in there. Like I'm in that top 20%, but I'm at the low end of that top 20%. So don't worry, just enjoy it. Be passionate about it, and everything will come. And if it doesn't come, you have to be okay with that. But podcasts are really popular, and the world is kind of, and the advertising is understanding that space. So it's not like you don't have to explain what a podcast is anymore, which I think maybe probably 5 years ago you had to be like, so what is this podcast? Same with YouTube and digital video. So I think the world is ready to give you money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just have something there. And sometimes it's not about the numbers. It's the right, if it's dogs or hamburgers, if it's, a hamburger place, and you have a very small but very engaged audience, that's better than mine who doesn't talk about hamburgers at all. It's a waste of money with me. Even if I have more people, just so you have less people, we talk about hamburgers, that's a better deal for them.
I see.
Yeah.
Reaches much more people than you think your ideas, but everybody's into that. I mean, the ghost thing's a genius idea.
It's a great idea.
I mean, I was already passionate about it.
Yeah.
I was already obsessed with it, and then I was like, so now I'm writing a book about the 50 places in the United States, the best abandoned, haunted place in the U.S. I'm going to Berlin in a few weeks to do. I'm doing stand-up out there, but I'm also going to be exploring a lot of abandoned places, a lot of haunted places, and then put it on the blog and on the podcast. So it's all kind of.
What's the one place you really want to go that is the creepy of the creep?
It's not, I don't know if it's the creep. Well, Chernobyl.
Okay. Oh,
would be.
Wow.
I mean, that's my number one. Chernobyl.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Is everything okay over? I mean,
no, it's not okay. But people go now.
Wow.
And then there's a place that it's closed called Dreamland, Nara Dreamland in Japan, and they started knocking it all down in 2016. So I missed the boat on that. But that was it was their answer to Disney World. Because then I think the story was they wanted to make a deal with Disney, and Disney's like, you got to pay us for all this stuff, and the guy in Japan was like, I'll just make my own place and make it up. And so Nara Dreamland was the mecca for me, but I'd say after that would be Chernobyl.
Wow.
Anyone want to go?
So when are you planning?
Well, if the podcast goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Just subscribe to my podcast, and maybe we'll get there. Yeah.
I think so.
That's amazing, guys. Yeah,
Wow.
and if anyone else has any questions about how to podcast, guys, make sure to leave them in the comments below or tweet them at us. We will put our Twitters on the screen. Jason is an expert. Total expert at podcasting.
I'm very good at marketing. Yeah, marketing. I'm probably better at the marketing than I'm at the pod. I think you know what I mean. I have a really great co-host, but
and you're funny too.
I do okay.
Yeah.
I still, even though I do some it's Ghost Town, I still crack jokes, especially when it's working in the Patreon. The thing I find just ways to work in Patreon during really grim moments. So
I think the likability of a person is the most important. That's where the hook comes in.
Absolutely.
You could be talking about most anything, and people are like, I like this person. I like this girl. I like this guy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason. Guys, if you have any other questions, leave a comment below. And yes, this was so much fun. Thanks for watching our first episode of How to Start.
Good job.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes, it was so amazing to have my good friend Jason Horton. He was my first California YouTube collab when I came to LA.
Look at us now.
Yeah, look at us now. I don't even want to say how long ago that was, but
6 months.
Yeah,
Let's say
6 months ago. 6 months ago. But guys, if you want to see the whole episode, make sure you check this video out on YouTube. No. If you want to see the whole episode, make sure you check this video out on. If you want to listen to the whole episode, make sure you check the video out on iTunes or go to focustv.com. We didn't really talk about this before, Andy. Okay. FocusTVNetwork.com/how-to-start. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Okay, guys.
Who wants to go get a hamburger with me? On me, baby. Hamburgers on me. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Yo.
Oh, how to start.